Hello beautiful people, how are you? We are in London. It's a park day, there's a bit of sun finally, and park day means drone day. Today I want to talk about how to get the best image quality out of your DJI Avata, but actually out of any drone and recording device. We're going to go through some settings, things you can add to your camera to take beautiful images. We're going to meet Giovanni, FPV drone pilot you've met before, and then we start chatting, you and me. Oh yeah. And I just stepped on a dog's poo. You guys with dogs, something I don't understand. You put the poo in the bag and you throw the bag on the floor. What's that about? Here we go, approaching our spot here in the park. This is actually one of the few places in London where we can fly a drone with no permit and peacefully. Yeah, Giovanni in the house!
High five.
Let's finally start a vlog. We made it. Before we fly the drone, we want to set up the best image quality. So we're gonna put the goggles on. I'm gonna guide you through what I'm doing to get the best out of my drone basically, and every other camera. And let's go inside the DJI Fly Up, and there you go, you can see me there. So we're gonna go in the camera settings. What you want to do, guys, first of all, is to have control on your settings as well. So let's not select the auto settings, but let's go into manual, and that's the very first option we have here. So if you are in auto, go to manual, and there you go. Now you're able to change everything. It's a sunny day outside here, so we're going to go in terms of temperature, white balance 5600 more or less. You can go around the range. The next thing I'm gonna do here, guys, is actually to change the aspect ratio. You might be in 16:9, but I want to have 4/3, and I'm gonna explain why. Because basically we're gonna get rid of the stabilization of the drone, the camera, the built-in camera stabilization, because we're going to stabilize it in post-production with the gyro flow up. So that's everything that also Giovanni confirmed here. He's a professional pilot, so the more image you have in camera, the better will be to stabilize it in post-production. Go to 4/3, and now from here we're going to choose the video quality, which is frame rate and resolution, because actually unfortunately with the 4/3 resolution aspect ratio, you can't really choose all the different resolutions and frame rates, but only certain. As you can see, unfortunately I can't pick the 4K 60 or 4K 50, so we need to go to 2.7K, which is still a quite good resolution. So we go to 2.7 60 frames per second. That's what I'm choosing today, to have some slow motion as well. That it always makes something cinematic, but also you might want to slow down your footage, so that's very helpful. Say something happens, you're chasing a bird or something. You shouldn't be chasing birds, but you know, anything cool happens, or you're shooting some action, you want to be able to slow it down. And unfortunately the maximum resolution to do so with the 4/3 aspect ratio is 2.7K 60 frames per second. Now we need to match our shutter speed here. So usually we want to have, for a natural motion blur, we want to have a shutter speed which matches double our frame rate. So we go to shutter speed, there you go. We are filming at 60, so we choose 1/120th of a second in terms of shutter. ISO, that's something important as well. I want to keep it as low as possible, 100 here. I can see you through the drone. Awesome, Joe. So yeah, we're saying we go to 100 to keep the noise down, and I think also that's the native ISO of the camera, if I'm not wrong. There you go. And these are the basic settings. Color, we're going to go to Cine-like. So we're going to record in flat profile, which allow us to get more dynamic range and be able to color grade better in post-production. Of course, you get more detail in the shadows and highlights. That's why we choose the Cine-like. The normal mode, as you can see here, it's already oversaturated, and you've got, yeah, the blacks and whites too highlighted, so that's what I'm choosing. And now we're going to talk about something very important, actually the most important part of today, which are filters. Okay, so this is the image we are seeing right now through the drone with the settings we've just set up. As you can see, the exposure is not right because you're missing the key part of today's video, which is an ND filter. So ND filters are great to compensate the overexposure of your image. Because we are recording in 60 frames per second, shutter speed 1/120th, the image is overexposed, even though the ISO is at its minimum. So ND filters are great, again, to compensate this overexposure. And the Freewell set comes in 4 different filters, starting from ND8, we go to 16, 32, and 64. The higher the number, the less light will go through your sensor. For a day like today, with the settings I'm using, the perfect filter for me is the ND16. And have a look how it changes the image here. They're really simple, they clip on the lens, and there you go, my image is now perfectly exposed. So go and check them out, check the Freewell website, a lot of good stuff also for cameras. They've been supporting my channel for a few years, so I thank them, and actually the video is sponsored by Freewell in a way because I got the filters for free. So thanks again, guys. We also want to change the field of view. If you can, we swipe, we go to settings, we go to camera, field of view, FOV, wide. So I didn't really see any difference here, but keep it on wide just in case. We also want to take the stabilization off, so we go to settings, camera, EIS. If you have it on rock steady, go to off, because we're going to stabilize it in post-production. And as I mentioned, we are going to have better results. So image looks properly exposed. And now we're going to do a couple of tests flying, and I'm going to show you the difference using the manual settings with the filter and auto settings without the filter, and you will notice some of the things like motion blur, overexposure, or change of exposure, and that's something I don't want to have in my video because I want to have full control of it. We're going to put it in the air. Let's go. So as you might have seen, I just dropped the drone, and something very important I want to mention is how fundamental are the UV filter, which are clear filters you put on your lens, and it just helps you not to break them in case of falls, as I've just did. Luckily I have the filter on, nothing happened to the gimbal. Actually the Avata is very strong, I'm impressed. What I recommend on a different subject, because the battery just came off of the drone when it fell and it flew 10 meters away, they actually make some brackets that you put around the battery just to avoid that. So it's something I'm gonna buy, so I'm not gonna lose the batteries. And also because the battery went off, I couldn't press the alarm, the warning button, and I couldn't find the drone, so I had to walk around. So it's helpful, yeah, to keep the battery, to have the battery on the whole time. So that's how I make the most out of the image from my drone. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was good fun. I need to learn manual mode because I switched to manual mode and that's when I crashed. But it's good fun, long way to go. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe right now. Bada boom.